Ali, ngakang klekal talat ka frit order obisra Small Business Development Center. Kupengel awan regel shabal na ngarbelal gilela Guam Trade Mission. So kan mo introduce ringi mo ogeringi aigel kora isela shabaringi. So thank you for being with us, Chelsea. Can you tell us a little bit about you and what you make?
Sure. Ali, my name is Chelsea Munya. I am the owner and chief operator of Natural Being. It is a business I started in 2012 after I had been making mosquito repellent products for my family for a few years. That started with me making the products for my son, and then I turned it into a business.
So how did you come up with the idea of making mosquito repellent?
It's funny to me. I live deep in the jungles in Guam, and like any island, one of our main nuisances is mosquitoes. So every time we went outside to do anything, whether we were having a barbecue or just hanging outside, we would get attacked by mosquitoes. And my son was a baby at the time, and I didn't want to use any of the products that are available in the store because those have so many different chemicals that are toxic and harmful to both my baby, myself, and our environment. And I didn't want that to be part of what we used in our family. So I started researching what options I had, and I found that I could make my own mosquito repellent using essential oils. I just needed to come up with the right formula that would fit for Guam mosquitoes. I said they were like kamikaze mosquitoes, and if you're using the wrong kind of mosquito repellent, they don't care. They'll just dive in and bite you anyway, even if you thought it was strong enough. So over the years, I found the recipe that works. I tested it on myself, with my friends, with other family members. I would just give it away and see what works, and have people tell me if it didn't work. And for the past several years, they've been telling me that this works, and then they asked me to make some more so they could buy, or someone would ask me where they could buy it, and I decided to make that a business and start turning it into other products that I would make that were safe for my family, your family, and the environment.
So I'm really glad that you mentioned some of the things that as a starting business, you have to really do some of your market research, and the simple ways to do market research is to ask your family and friends to try it out and get that important feedback on and how it works, and if it does work, what are their needs, and address the problems with your product. Can you share more about how you came with the design and the packaging?
Sure.
What were some of the things that you had to learn?
I had to learn what my customers would want. So through our first series, we had several different color bottles. We would put them in blue bottles, brown bottles, green bottles, and see what sold the most at different events. We would always participate in community activity events and just expose our products to as many people as possible and ask them to give us feedback. And we found that the green bottles sold the most over the brown and the blue, which surprised us because we thought everyone would like the sort of natural brown bottle. And then I realized when I started manufacturing hand sanitizers that they looked better in clear bottles because clear sort of represented this idea of clean.
Yes.
And our labeling has changed as well. My cousin initially designed the first labels that were really beautiful, but it had a lot more imagery and a lot more wording on it. And I had a friend who offered to help me redesign the labels, and so she looked to different samples that she had seen around on the internet and in different companies worldwide. So she took her ideas from label designs that were available around the world and sort of produced this for me. And we really liked the clean design of the fewer words. She used the image of, on the label you can see the image of the scent. Like if it's grapefruit, you see a grapefruit on the front. If it's lavender, you see the lavender on the front. So it makes it easier to identify and just consistent with the coloring.
Yes.
I found that the mosquito repellent I made wasn't strong enough for my son, whose nickname is Sugar. And so for some reason, I think that makes the mosquitoes like him more because they attack him. And so I had to make a really strong repellent for him. And I turned that into the extra strength repellent because it was stronger than anybody else ever needed. It's just a lot of testing and it's a lot of research. I found that mothers are in a household, a mother does 85% of the purchasing for the family.
Yes.
So that should be my target market. But at the same time, I also feel like in this era of sustainability and eco-consciousness, that the products could appeal to anybody, really.
Yes.
But for me, again, it comes down to, your family is your heart. And it's about keeping my family safe and keeping our environment safe, because as island people, we're tied to our land, we're tied to the ocean. And if we can continue to pollute it with the things that we use, then we're just polluting ourselves. So I feel better in my heart when I use these products or share these products with people, because then I know we're not degrading our land and our ocean.
Yeah, so could you share what was it like? How many years have you been in business to show the growth that you have from being in the cottage industry and now where you're at the point where you're exploring opportunities to export your products?
Sure. I've been researching and building this for roughly 17 years. My son is 17 years old. He's going to graduate this year. And we moved into our house when he was 2 years old. So for 15 years, I've been creating a formula. Well, maybe roughly around 10 years. I finalized the formula a few years ago, but I didn't start my business till 2012. And in 2012, I just decided that's the year I should just start my business, even if it didn't lead to anything. At least I had a business. I had a business license. I could operate within the law and participate in little pop-ups and sell things. But it didn't really take off. I mean, I had the business. It didn't go anywhere past what I had already created. Then I started participating in different courses that were available, like through GUMA, which is Guam Unique Merchandising and Art. They offered free training to small businesses about how to create a business plan, how to conduct marketing research, how to find financing, how to refine your product. And it's a 16-week course. It's once a week, every Saturday, but it was only maybe 2 hours each Saturday. So that's really not a lot of time to give up if you're trying to create a business. And you can bring your kids if you have to. You can bring your partner if you have to. Some of the classmates I had were just whole families sitting there because one person, either the mother or the father, was trying to do something. I like to call myself the GUMA Super Senior because it wasn't just one course. I went through the first course for 16 weeks and then didn't finish. I didn't finalize my business plan. Then I went through a second course and didn't really attend because I already attended all the other weeks. Still didn't finish my business plan. So then I went through a third course, maybe like a year later, and that's when I finally finished the business plan. And they invited me to participate in their Shark Tank, where you have to present your products to a panel. They'll ask you all these questions to see if you know your business, you know your products, and you have to have a solid answer, solid business plan, and then you can qualify for grant funding from GUMA. So GUMA really, with the SBDC, because I had an SBDC coach who provided a lot of the training as well on what a business plan should look like, what your financial model should look like. They provided us with formula spreadsheets that show you have to break down how much it costs you to make this one bottle. Everything from the ingredients inside, you break it down to how many ounces it is and how much you paid per ounce, how much does the bottle cost, how much does the sprayer cost, how much does the label cost, how much time did you spend making it, because then you're factoring in your labor costs. that all goes into the formula, and then you figure out what you need to price your product at so that you're covering all of that and you can still make money.
Yes.
There's so many questions you have to answer, and it wouldn't have been possible without SBDC and GUMA. I wouldn't be here, but that's what got me here. And even now, there's still so much learning to be done through this business, but it was several years. So it's been roughly, 17 years maybe since all of this has happened, and to get here to this point.
So now that you're here in Palau, what is your take on what we've been doing so far for the last 3 days? What are some of the highlights that you would like to share?
The highlights are, I think, the camaraderie that you feel with the group that we're traveling with.
Yes.
Because most of these people I don't know or interact with on a daily basis at all. But because we're going through this together, it builds this bond and this friendship with other business owners who have experiences that I can still learn from. Listening to them talk about their challenges of having employees and what that's like. I don't have that challenge yet. I basically exploit my family for free right now. And my family, my cousins. And getting to present my product to possible vendors. You have to have your 30-second pitch down, why you're doing what you do, why it should matter to them, what your product brings to them. It's been an amazing experience, really. I'm very grateful for it. It's been exhausting, having 8 meetings a day, and finishing at the end of the night. You still have to start over the same way the next day.
Yes.
But getting to meet people, I think the business to business was probably my favorite part, because I got to talk to people one-on-one. I met a woman who makes a product somewhat similar to mine, but still very different, and she was coming to ask me for guidance on how to get there and what to do, and it's very touching, but it feels very good, because now's my opportunity to pay it forward and share what I've learned. And I told her I would be absolutely thrilled to help her progress in her company doing what she's doing. There's so many things to take from this experience, and all of them are learning experiences and fulfilling in knowing that you can add and contribute to help someone else.
I really like that during this time that I spent with you, all the different businesses as well as the different agencies, such as Melvin at the Guam Economic Development Authority, and Monica at GUMA, and especially with Aubrey at USARA, and then each of the 5 companies, you have this synergy, and as well as putting your culture forefront in all of your products, and sort of sharing that it does take time to reach the level that you're at, but if you're passionate and you stick to it, surround yourself with the right resources, that you're able to reach this level. And this is just the beginning of many doors that are opening, and I do wish you the best on getting some of those trade opportunities. That was the objective of this trade mission, is to get either vendors to connect with you, or the suppliers, or maybe just learn from each other. So I'm really glad for that opportunity that I've had to share with you these past 3 days. If there was any advice or for businesses in Palau that are in similar industry, they're probably still in the cottage phase of their product development, what would be the one advice or that you would give to them, that you could give to them based on your experience as a senior or superstar from the GUMA training, super senior from the GUMA trainings?
It would be, and I know it sounds sort of cliche, but I'll tell you why I'm gonna say don't give up, because there were years, not just days or months, but years where I didn't make any progress. There were years where I didn't do anything. Like I said, I formed my business, I incorporated it in 2012, and then some years I didn't spend any time on it. I'd have bottles sitting in my office. I created an office at my house, sitting in storage containers with dried solutions in them. And I just felt like every week I told myself I'm going to do something that weekend, and then I didn't do anything. And that there were years where there was no progress, and then all of a sudden I'd get energy and get excited and get energized and start making stuff again, and then go take it out into the community, and I'd get positive feedback that would make me feel great, and I'd start again, and then I'd feel drained again, or I'd lose focus, or my regular 8 to 5 job was consuming my time plus my family. So there were literally years where I didn't do anything. And then opportunities kept presenting themselves, and I realized that I would be really foolish to let that slip by, because it was an opportunity that I didn't even go out seeking, but it came to me. And that'll happen. I mean, I think if you're on the right track, or if you have something good, opportunities will present itself, because people would come to me saying, hey, you make this, and I know you make the repellent, or you make the hand sanitizer. Can you come participate? That's an opportunity.
Yes.
So if you're doing something that the community needs in some way, they'll come to you, and just don't let that slip by. So even though I had long breaks, I never really gave up, and I didn't quit. And now it's paying off, and I have this opportunity to grow again, and I can't let that slip. So my one piece of advice is just, even when you want to give up, just take the break if you need a break. Give yourself that. Don't knock yourself down for giving yourself that break, because sometimes we all just need a break. Just don't quit. Keep it there, even if it's on the back burner.
Well, thank you very much for sharing your story with us, Chelsea. I'm really glad that we connected during your visit here, and I look forward to seeing some of your products here on our shelves, and maybe whether they're sold as your items or maybe bought by other vendors, but that opportunity to connect and have you have the opportunity to explore. And we're very glad that you chose to come to Palau as your first choice of doing the trade mission, and really trying to hone in on that one Micronesia, where we as businesses and cultures in the region, we have our similarities, we have our differences, but if we work collectively and support one another, and like what you did today with all those people that came to the B2B learning, just the learning experience in itself was very great. So thank you very much, and thank you for coming to Palau.
Masalang.
Salang, salarabon.
Everybody should come to visit Palau.